What do they call them, millennials? People love to hate them. It's like a national obsession.
Why are millennials so annoying? From the moment they arrived, the millennial generation has seen its culture mocked and its problems derided.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've led a very fortunate life.
On screen, millennials are often the butt of the joke, represented by characters with a litany of negative traits. Millennials are often portrayed as entitled, believing they're owed success and status without having really earned it.
Wait, I got passed over for a promotion again? What do I have to do? I've been here 8 weeks.
They have unrealistic ambitions, pursuing artsy, creative careers and entrepreneurial endeavors, but lacking the talent or focus to actually see them through.
Now, you're still right. Barely. Too busy living out moments you won't remember 5 years from now. I know this because you post about this life all the goddamn time.
They're seen as self-absorbed, selfie-snapping, social media-loving centers of their own universes.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Make sure you tell your friends to follow me and make me more powerful.
And they're also easily offended, quick to accuse others of microaggressions and too thin-skinned to take any criticism.
Honestly, Logan, I felt so misunderstood in class.
But it's notable that the rise of negative millennial stereotypes coincides with an increase of pop culture made by millennials.
There are certain people where you kind of make the calculation where you're like, you're probably going to be pissed if I write about this interaction we had, but I kind of don't care because my work is more important to me than knowing you.
Does the annoying millennial trope represent a backlash to their sudden ubiquity? Are these characters a form of self-aware criticism? Or do some of these ostensibly tiresome traits simply reflect the problems that millennials have been forced to live with in a world that seems to love to hate them?
I am beset upon at all times by a tsunami of complex thoughts and struggles, unceasingly aware of my own mortality.
Here's our take on the trope of the annoying millennial and why it may be time to reevaluate one of our culture's favorite scapegoats.
You're watching The Take. Let us know your take.
This video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. It's like your own personal film festival, streaming anytime, anywhere.
I give zero f***s about anything, yet I have a strong opinion about everything.
No word defines the millennial experience quite like privilege. The millennial generation, defined by the Pew Research Center as anyone born between 1981 and 1996, grew up with access to the internet, advanced technology, and better opportunities for education, giving them significant advantages over earlier generations. Yet they're often portrayed as taking these things for granted and acting like they deserve more.
Money, please.
Oh, no, there's no money.
Oh, my bad. No problem.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. I'll just destroy this office.
Hey!
In his 2013 Time magazine cover story, The Me Generation, Joel Stein wrote, "Millennials got so many participation trophies growing up that a recent study shows that 40% believe they should be promoted every 2 years, regardless of performance." It's an attitude that has since been satirized, and some would argue embodied by shows like HBO's Girls, in which Lena Dunham's Hannah Horvath harbors dreams of becoming a famous writer, but chafes at the demeaning entry-level day jobs she has to work in the meantime.
Do you think that I think this is the best use of my literary voice and my myriad talents?
And we've seen it reflected in characters like The Office's Ryan Howard, who, despite being played by a Gen X actor, represents a distinctly millennial attitude toward work.
It's like, I could run GM, but I couldn't fix a car. It's not saying that one is better than the other.
Seriously? Because it sounds like one of those is better than the other.
On and off screen, millennials are regarded as aspirational, yet lazy. Passionate, but unrealistic, and totally unwilling to shut up and pay their dues.
Adulthood is where dreams go to die. Grow up, get a job, become a drone, that's it.
In their most searing depictions, millennials go beyond annoying to downright villainous. They're seen as singularly obsessed with finding a shortcut to fame and fortune. Netflix's Girl Boss, a semi-autobiographical look at millennial entrepreneur Sophia Amoruso, celebrates the moxie and business savvy of this vintage clothing mogul.
This is an original 1970s East-West calfskin motorcycle jacket in perfect condition. Know what your shit's worth?
But it also doesn't shy away from showing how the protagonist leverages her privilege and builds her business by stepping on other people.
But I thought that you, as a friend, would want me, your friend, to be a part of Nasty Gal.
Everything you do could be done by an intern.
The millennial characters in Sofia Coppola's The Bling Ring are also based on real people, privileged young women who have grown up obsessed with the lives of wealthy socialites and Instagram influencers.
I just have to graduate so I can go to FITM. Fashion Institute of Design. It's where all the Hills girls went.
Yet their privilege only leaves them wanting more, and they resort to stealing to get it.
Come on, let's go to Paris's. I want to rob.
And when they get caught, their privilege not only insulates them from consequence, in this world where attention is everything, it actually rewards them with the celebrity they've been seeking.
I want to lead a huge charity organization. I want to lead a country one day, for all I know.
A similar plot plays out on the fictional Search Party, whose millennial ensemble consists of entitled, status-obsessed narcissists.
She was always just like around, and she was, she was very jealous of me.
Their every action, no matter how altruistic, feels self-serving and fake.
We're making these designer water bottles, and for everyone that we sell in the States, we're actually going to give one to one of the African villages in need.
Their privilege is such that even when they commit murder, they're able to compartmentalize it, refusing to examine their own blinkered worldview.
Everything's gonna be okay. You know why? Because we're good people. We're good people.
Yes. Yes.
And eventually that privilege becomes a cudgel used against them by a prosecutor who's out to indict all annoying millennials for thinking only of themselves and for believing they don't have to play by the rules.
If we allow these two morally repugnant abusers of privilege off, well, you know what you're doing? You're letting an entire generation off.
This is a common criticism made by these annoying millennial satires.
You kids have been told you can do anything. You think everything is out there for you to have. It's not.
But then, who sets those rules? For most millennials, their greatest crime is simply not adhering to the career and life paths laid out by their earlier generations. Paths that, for the most part, have been denied to them anyway.
You deserve paid work.
I can't get paid work. I just graduated from Cornell with a business degree. That's the worst, Ivy.
Without a clear way forward, millennials feel entitled to experiment, to delay growing up, and to not settle. And you can see why other generations might resent them for it.
Hard to believe you're the future. Thank God I'll be dead.
Older generations have always written off the youth. Gen Xers may think millennials are lazy and entitled, but boomers also thought they were cynical slackers.
See, Gen X, mocha-sipping, chain-smoking little slackers need to learn the lesson.
If you ask the so-called silent generation, baby boomers were a bunch of freeloading hippies.
Would you mind telling me then what those 4 years of college were for? What was the point of all that hard work?
You got me.
Getting mocked and derided by your elders is one area where millennials are decidedly not special. But what is unique is that millennials seem to get it from all sides.
Black women aren't bitter. They're just tired of being expected to settle for less.
Her outfit settle for less.
The generational rift between millennials and Gen Xers already spawned its own sitcom in CBS's short-lived The Great Indoors, which cast Joel McHale as a sarcastic travel reporter placed in charge of a group of young millennial stereotypes.
I didn't know they allowed pets in the office now. Or is that one of those special dogs that weird people can take anywhere?
Oh, you're not allowed to ask if it's a emotional support animal.
Predictably, they're all social media obsessed, overly coddled, and unable to form meaningful real-world connections.
What if I told you there was a dating app that would allow you to meet actual human beings right now? A bar.
Ew. Is that for Android?
A similar dynamic underscores Noah Baumbach's While We're Young, where the 40-something filmmaker Josh, played by quintessential Gen Xer Ben Stiller, meets Jamie and Darby, a millennial couple portrayed by Adam Driver and Amanda Seyfried.
I'm gonna be totally honest with myself, I don't think I'm ever gonna die. I know that's crazy.
Jamie and Darby are hipster caricatures, from their fetishization of vinyl and VHS tapes to what they wear and eat.
It's an avocado and almond milk sorbet.
And while Josh's attempts to fit in are held up as ridiculous, Jamie especially is made out to be entitled, amoral, and fake. The clash between Gen X and Millennials is usually portrayed as one of authenticity and integrity.
If I hear a song I like or a story, it's mine. It's mine to use. It's everybody's.
No, it isn't. That's not sharing, Jamie. That's stealing.
That's old man talk.
For baby boomers, this generational rift takes the form of an all-encompassing disdain. The comedy horror Tone Deaf turns this generational battle into an all-out bloodbath, with the annoying millennial Olive pitted against the psychotic boomer Harvey.
It's nothing personal. It's not you. It's everything you represent.
The film clearly sympathizes with Olive. Harvey is a homicidal maniac, but it also makes her out to exemplify some of the worst aspects of millennial entitlement.
Can you at least let me go at the end of the week? It's almost free lunch Friday. I earned that meal. I deserve that meal.
It suggests that the contempt between millennials and baby boomers is one born of not just differences, but rage.
Getting drunk off your skinny girl margaritas. Cavorting around with your jobless, fedora-clad boyfriends.
Millennials have been around long enough that they're also taking flack from the next generation.
I personally don't want to be associated with people who still think that Harry Potter movies are a personality trait.
In shows like New Girl, we see how even millennials edging toward the end of their 20s find themselves increasingly socially obsolete in the eyes of kids just 10 years younger.
And they're the future of humanity. Pan-ethnic, pansexual hive mind, and they want nothing to do with me.
Jess's cutesy millennial demeanor is mocked by her younger, acerbic Gen Z students.
Your happiness seems like a mask.
And this echoes Gen Z's real-world attitude toward millennials, which regards them as both old and developmentally arrested. They're old people trying to use social media. As one Gen Zer told Vice, they try to fit in with the younger generation, but they're not really the younger generation anymore.
Well, at least the bully's not making fun of that kid anymore.
They're making fun of me.
Ellie Alves on You embodies this perspective. She's a precocious 15-year-old who sees through the artifice of millennial culture.
Feeds that aren't lame. Hope people understand you. But don't overshare like your breakfast.
The Los Angeles in the show's second season is immersed in insincere millennial nonsense and populated by entitled hustlers who are determined to speak their futures into existence rather than work for them.
I will make a film that premieres Sundance 2020 at the Eccles. Friday night slot, then goes on to sweep the Gothams.
The Gen Z Ellie deflates their ridiculousness with an old-school idea of authenticity that even Gen Xers would admire.
Celery juice? Oh, what is wrong with you?
This kid knows what's up.
So why do millennials get such a tough time from everyone? As with so many things about them, it goes back to the internet. Millennials came of age as the personal essay was becoming the standard for personal expression.
Let me just begin by saying that there are two sides to every story, and this is my side, the right one.
And this focus on mining themselves for content can explain why other generations find millennials especially annoying. Because their works are so personal, they're also often dismissed as shallow or navel-gazing.
But I think that I may be the voice of my generation.
With more avenues for content, we also just see and hear a lot more from millennials. It's little wonder that other generations feel like they've dominated the conversation, but behind their millennial urge to speak their truth, there are also valid reasons they feel so compelled to share it. While we often define generations according to years, it's arguably more helpful to define them by shared experiences. In the case of millennials, these experiences have been largely traumatic. According to millennial researcher Jason Dorsey, the dividing point between millennials and Gen Z is 9/11. In order for 9/11 to be a generation-defining moment, he said, you had to remember it, feel the emotion of it, and the uncertainty of what was going to happen next. And while that uncertainty was shared by everyone who lived through it, for millennials it was compounded by a financial crisis that struck just as many were graduating college, creating a stagnating job market that left their future looking exceptionally bleak.
And I know that a lot of you are concerned about your future, but there's no need to worry. The economy is booming, the job market is wide open. The planet is just fine.
These lingering traumas color 2018's Vox Lux, in which the life of a pop star played by Natalie Portman is marked by a series of defining millennial events, from a Columbine-like school shooting to 9/11 to a random terrorist attack in Croatia.
Celeste,
You need to get up and step away from the windows because in a few minutes there'll be an explosion.
Film programmer Ashley Clark has called Vox Lux a millennial origin story, showing us just how psychologically damaging it can be to grow up internalizing these ordeals while attempting to put on a happy face.
That's what I love about pop music. I don't want people to have to think too hard. I just want them to feel good.
In stories that truly engage with the millennial experience rather than simply mocking it, this unease underscores everything. The millennial terrorists in 2016's Nocturama seem at first like extreme parodies of woke young people, indiscriminately destroying everything just to upset the status quo.
Mais si tu veux en aller encore plus loin, tu peux mettre que la civilisation apparaît comme la condition suffisante de la rupture de la civilisation.
Yet we gradually see how their dissatisfaction is a response to a world where disaster and violence is always imminent, lurking behind a veil of bland, pacifying consumerism.
Ça devait arriver, ça devait vraiment arriver. Ben voilà, ça y est.
Both Vox Lux and Nocturama deal with the idea of processing these fears through performance, whether that be through art, through dramatic acts, or simply through how we present ourselves. Performance can be seen as superficial, but through performance, millennials are often able to articulate a deeper, more impactful truth.
And when I tried to find the reason for my sadness and terror, all the solutions were trial and error.
On Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, performance means protagonist Rebecca Bunch literally bursting into song. Rebecca is a bit of a narcissist, and yes, a tad annoying. She does move across the country just to stalk her ex-boyfriend, after all.
I was in New York, I ran into Josh, he made me feel warm inside, like glitter was exploding inside me, then I moved here.
But the show also examines how this bubblegum facade is actually a cover for serious mental health issues.
It's called borderline personality disorder, and I read 2.5 sentences about it, and they were the worst sentences ever, and I don't want to know any more.
And when Rebecca finally hits rock bottom and attempts suicide, it's all the more compelling when contrasted against that performative fantasy. Millennial stories also grapple with just how much performance is involved in our everyday life, just to process the ambient anxiety of living. In Personal Shopper, Kristen Stewart's Maureen is sullen and impassive in her day-to-day of working as an assistant to a wealthy supermodel. Yet in her drawings and through her text messages, we get a glimpse of just how much inner darkness she's suppressing at all times.
My brother died here. My twin brother died in Paris.
A similar struggle takes place in HBO's I May Destroy You, where Michaela Cole's Arabella is sexually assaulted, while the series follows her attempt to minimize her experience and put it out of her mind.
I say, there are hungry children, there are hungry children, there are hungry children, to remind myself of the bigger picture.
These stories underscore the many transgressions that have just become normalized and the ways in which we've forced ourselves to ignore them.
Then he secretly took off the condom.
Like, that's so messed up.
There are actual Reddit forums where men share tips and tricks.
By bringing their raw interior lives to the surface, millennials are talking loudly and honestly about a lot of things we've long tried to suppress. It's understandable that some people would find that a little annoying. When we talk about the annoying millennial, we usually picture some privileged white character making themselves the center of attention.
Working feels bad and I don't ever want to work one more day in my entire life. Oh my God, it feels so good to say that.
But in truth, millennials who create content out of their own lives have exposed us to a far greater diversity of voices and experiences. Aziz Ansari's Master of None may mine a lot of its laughs from observations about millennial dating, but it also confronts some rarely explored universal truths about race.
I did read somewhere that the people that do worst on the apps are Asian men and black women.
Well, it's great white people finally have an advantage somewhere.
Awkwafina Is Nora from Queens presents a portrait of Arrested Development that's not dissimilar from the slackers of 2 generations ago, but it also offers a refreshing departure from the stereotypical Asian American stories of upward mobility.
You're too old for this. Come on, throw some of this stuff away.
No, not that one.
Can you at least throw away this bag of trash?
No, okay, fine.
There's also the radical body-positive joy of Shrill, which celebrates the thoroughly millennial attitude of loving yourself, both as an act of defiance and no big deal.
I've been letting people dismiss me or say shit to me about my body my entire life. And at this point, I just feel like them.
And Issa Rae's Insecure showcases what writer Yomi Adegike calls the humdrum experiences that all Black millennial women go through, centering their stories while giving them dimension and relatability.
I don't want to be who y'all think I am. So don't be. How? You asking me?
In previous generations, these types of characters may have been reduced to stereotypes or tokenistic portrayals, their stories revolving around one-dimensional issues rather than their fully realized lives. But in millennial culture, they're allowed to be themselves. The good, bad, and yes, the annoying.
We cannot be in the same room without one of us making it completely and entirely about ourselves.
There's a phrase that goes, "The first one through the wall always gets bloody." Millennials are proof of this, trying to break down so many barriers at once only to get buried in the rubble of the structures built by those who came before.
If I'm sending mixed messages, it's because I don't know who I am. So how am I supposed to know what I want?
They may seem annoying now, but maybe future generations will thank them for it.
I never know if I can handle anything. That's what makes my life so exciting.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to get notified about all our new videos. This video is brought to you by Mubi, a streaming service we love. Mubi is a treasure trove of films. Every day, Mubi premieres a new film. Whether it's a movie you've been dying to see or one you've never heard of before, there is always something new to discover. So in this world where it's very easy to spend hours debating what you should watch, Mubi is like having a really cool friend with amazing taste in movies, making it so much easier for you. They feature hard-to-come-by masterpieces, indie festival darlings, influential art house and foreign films, lesser-known films by your favorite famous directors, and more. Plus, you can even download the films to watch offline, and there are no ads, ever. This month, Mubi is spotlighting the innovative work of Angela Shanilek with the exclusive online premiere of I Was at Home But. This enigmatic drama about a family in crisis won Shanilek the Silver Bear for Best Director at last year's Berlin Film Festival. We can't recommend Mubi highly enough. You can try it out now for free for a whole month. Just click the link in the description below.